afternoon, dear students. Hope you are feeling good tonight today. Okay, today we are both honored. It's a big pride for us to host a special guest today. This is De Bleu. She is a Deputy General Manager of Walloon Expert Investment Agency. And we will talk today on innovations driven by competitiveness, clusters, and other partnerships, and their influence on foreign direct investors. I think this topic should be of interest for all of us, and we hope to learn a lot from this presentation. Plus, we have kindly asked our special guest to present a bit more, to give you a bit more implications on how to turn on your self-development, how to bring on some new goals for yourself as for the future part citizen of this society. So let us welcome Mrs. De Bleu.
Thank you very much for this warm receiving me and this warm welcome. Maybe first a few words about myself. I've been traveling to, I have experience of 30 years now on 6 countries. I started my working life in the private sector where I worked for 15 years, and then I applied for the administration where I succeeded the concourse. And I was very happy to make a very, very good career in this administration, which is quite unusual, and certainly for women. Even in our countries, it's not so easy. So, as an education, I'm a translator, interpreter, English-Russian, and I completed this education by a second diploma in economic, commercial, and consular sciences. This allowed me to have a very large understanding of the needs of the countries and the exchanges which were possible and more difficult in certain cases. With regards to Uzbekistan, I've been in Uzbekistan several times with trade missions of Belgian groups. Today I'm here in Uzbekistan again with a group of 41 companies from different sectorial segments, mainly in equipment and medical appliances and solutions, which are one of the leading trends of the requirements your government set forward. It's the first time for me that I'm presiding a mission to Uzbekistan. Formerly, it was always our CEO, Mr. Svinen, who is now retired. So I try to maintain and to safeguard all the relations that we have created during the many years. We also work very closely with your embassy in Belgium. And your nowadays ambassador, Mr. Morov, used to be a Minister of Foreign Affairs, so he also is trying together with us to make your country know much better in Belgium, and I think this is important. One of the most important works that we have to do is to demystify and to give information to our countries, to our companies, with regards to the potential that you have in your country. Before I start with the core of my presentation, I would like to tell you a few words about Belgium as a country. Why? Because it is impossible to understand a country or to have good relations without understanding a little bit the legal framework. And you know that Belgium is a very small country. It's a country of 11 million inhabitants, and it's a federal state. So we have the menu here of what we are going to say this today. So I first go through the institutional context, then I will go to the Walloon Export and Investment Agency, the agency for which I'm working, and then we will go on FDI and attracting FDI, and I will leave also some information on what we are doing in your country for your library if you wish. And then we will come to some figures. At the end, really, I'm ready to answer any question you would like to ask, even if it's on my personal career, on family, is how I managed to manage a family life with my frequent travels abroad. You are really very welcome to put any question, and I will try to answer as honestly as possible. So Belgium, as I said, Belgium is a small country. It's 11 million inhabitants, but and 70% of the GDP is generated by small and medium enterprises. Since I know that you like all my figures, just a few more figures maybe. Belgium is ranking 13th position according to WTO as in the export capacity. So which means that with a population of 11 million people, we are ranking worldwide 13th position in export. This is mainly linked to the fact that our market is very narrow and that we have to find solutions for export outside the borders of our country. Of these exports, 70% of the exports of Belgium are exported intra-European countries, and 30% outside Europe, the borders of Europe. This used to be 75% for Europe and 25% for the rest of the world till 5 years ago. So there is a big progress, and this is one of the things we are endeavoring to promote also to our country and to our companies, is to promote the importance to go extra EU borders for export and investment. One more thing maybe about Belgium is that Belgium is a small country which is at the cross-border of the Latin and German cultures, and we have 3 national languages in the country, which is French, Dutch, and German. And for example, I'm a very special product of this mix because I'm Flemish born, but I studied in French, so I'm full bilingual plus the other languages which I manage, and in English, but also of course German, and well, even better Russian than German. So now we come to the institutional situation of Belgium. Belgium is a federal state with 3 communities. Communities of regards to culture and to languages. So you have the French-speaking community, you have the Flemish-speaking community, and you have the German-speaking community. We start with the German-speaking community. This is a very small community. It's 70,000 people living in the eastern part of the Walloon region. And from the economic point of view, there are 3 regions. You have the Walloon region, for which I work. You have the region of Brussels capital, and you have the Flemish region. The powers of the communities, as I said, for the 3 communities it's the same. It's cultural matters, languages, the use of languages, because it's very tough. For example, if you are working in Flanders and you have to sign an employment contract, even if you are from Uzbek origin or from Russian origin or whatever, the contract has to be signed in English, in Dutch, and it's not possible to do it in English or whatever. So what is usually done is that so the official contract is done in Dutch and then a translation. In the French-speaking community, we are a little bit less tough on the uses of languages, but obviously for courts and so on, everything is done in one of the three languages depending on where the case is put forward. From the region point of view, this is more what is interesting for us. It's the regional development and housing, environmental questions in general, public works, and then economic policy, but also foreign trade and attraction of foreign investment are activities which are fully regionalized, which means that for all these matters, each region in Belgium has full power to sign international agreements and so on. So we have undergone recently a sixth reform of state reform, and the constitution has been revised. This was during the previous government, and it will now be implemented in the different laws of the different regions. And this is really a very big package of competencies that will go to the regions and to the communities, and that we will have to manage completely independently from the federal power. When I say completely independently, it's true that we don't have to report on them, but in view to have the good collaboration with different regions, of course, we keep in touch and we try to level all the legislations so that we are not put into competition one or the other in such a small country. It would be a real pity. So now we come back on Wallonia. Wallonia is one of the regions of Belgium. It's a very small region, population 3.4 million inhabitants. It's about 10 times less than what you have in your country, I think. The capital is Namur, but our offices, for example, are based in Brussels. As I said, Wallonia is fully autonomous. We are working in economic policy, foreign trade and investment, employment and professional training, scientific research and new technologies, transport and public works, environment and urban and rural development, agriculture and energy, tourism, and all the foreign relations related to these capacities. So one of the important things for us and also for the other regions, and this is even of Belgium, but it's even played as and put forward by countries, neighboring countries, is that Brussels, of course, as the capital of Belgium, is also the capital of EU, and also we have the headquarters of NATO. It's a political decision-making country and capital, and we have a lot of multinational organizations based in Brussels. We also have a lot of lobbying organizations based in Brussels that do the lobbying towards the EU. So some figures with regards to AWEX, the Wallonia Foreign Trade and Investment Agency. The agency was created in 1998. It's a universal service, which means, and it's free of charge, which means that we help all the companies, small or big, to penetrate foreign markets. and we are linked to the Walloon government with a management contract. We have the headquarters, as I said, are based in Brussels. For the foreign investment attraction, the headquarters are based in Namur. We have 7 regional centers in Wallonia. These are aimed at giving proximity information to our small and medium enterprises. And we have a network of 109 representations abroad. And these are usually working from the Belgian embassies abroad. We have a representation since 1999 here in Tashkent. It used to be headed by somebody that I think you know, it was Madame Chantal. Nowadays, since she resigned, it is my colleague Chantal who is heading this office. It's a little small office, it's 2 persons, but still it's important to maintain the contacts with our companies. So the budget of our organization is 80 million euros, which covers all the expenses that we have, including the incentives that we give to the companies. I will come to that later on. Our organization is ISO certified since 2002. We were the first administration, because even if we are an agency, it's a governmental agency, and we were ISO certified in 2002. It was the first administration ever in Belgium to be ISO certified. Now, there are others, but we were the first. The agency comprehends 435 people, and this includes, it's shared for half of it in Belgium and half of it in abroad. So in these numbers, of course, my colleague and her assistant are calculating it. So in 2004, we merged foreign trade and attraction of foreign investments. Why? Because one region can only have one promotion campaign and one promotion agency. We also had the network of trade commissioners that we had abroad that could also bring quite some information for the attraction of investments towards our agency, and that's why we merged. One of the main reasons also is the overhead savings, because we could share the experience of different people instead of duplicating it in our scenario. One of the exercises that we do on a very regular basis is the positioning of our network abroad. This is an exercise we do about every 2 or 3 years. What does it mean is that we are going to examine what is the cost of each office that we have abroad, and we compare it to the figures and the potential of the different countries. This is an exercise that we have been requested to do again this year, considering the wide range of savings that we will have to make in our budget. So to give you an idea of the presentations that we have abroad, so you see all the small points worldwide, and then the big concentration into Europe. This is mainly because Europe is still the biggest export region for outlet for the exports of Wallonia. To give you an importance also of the comprehends two general directions. It's one which is Western Europe, and it's usually, and then it's Central and Eastern Europe and CIS countries, and this represents more than about 85% of the total exports of our region, which means that when asked something, I'm usually followed in the administration. So let us come to FDI, which is of a big concern for you and important also. Before I start, I have to say also that foreign attraction for foreign direct investments, it's linked to the particularities of a country. So you cannot duplicate what you have in one country into another one. So what I will tell you here is the experience that we have. Obviously, the experience that you have is quite different. There is one thing which is different, which is maybe similar, is that we are at the crossroads of the Latin and the German culture. I think Uzbekistan, with the Silk Road, has also an experience of this mix of cultures, which can lead to good ideas to develop FDIs. And you certainly have to consider this experience. It is historical element in the development of your FDI and the efforts you are making. So what can contribute to FDI? Well, it's the location, yes, of course. It's the promotion and the sales and the after sales of the services of FDI. This is one important thing. FDI also, as everybody knows, contributes to the market size, to the GDP creation. It's also, you will facilitate FDI when you have the necessary manpower, but you also have to have the skills and the education and certainly the languages. I can only stress that one of the big importance of attracting FDIs is languages. Being at the cross borders of these cultures and these three national languages, this also attracts quite some investments in your country, and I think this is something definitely that you have to keep in mind, that as the more languages you will manage, the more you will be able to do something for your country to attract FDIs. So what is also important, and maybe even more in our countries, because we have less and less big investments which are generating a lot of employment, because salary costs are very important in our country. So it's R&D is important, the TTT is important, IPR is important, incentives are of course of importance, exports incentives for the country, for the companies are important, production and distribution cost, taxation system, and then, of course, we come to the core of my presentation now. It's the capacity for innovation, partnerships, added value of clusters, environment, political and economic stability. We see it with what is happening with the crisis between Ukraine and Russia. This certainly does not have stability and is hampering very heavily not only trade tendencies but also investment. And then the reference list of the big players that you have on your shopping list, and the quality of life is also important. So we will go through what we are doing now for our companies. So making Wallonia attractive. So it's the support. I will start with the support to our export facilities. So as I said, we have 109 representations abroad, and these representations are really there to help our companies. And these representations also do, and I will take always the example of what we do for Uzbekistan. So we organize on a regular basis seminars in Belgium towards all companies with or without the help of the embassy. So in January, for example, Mrs. Karimova was in Belgium, and we organized together with the embassy presentation on the capabilities of Uzbekistan. And then later on in October, we made another seminar with your embassy in Liège. And this resulted, I think, also in the importance of the delegation which I'm leading today here in your country. We also communicate business opportunity tenders that are available. So one of the jobs of Mrs. Karimova is really to check what are the tenders which are being received in Uzbekistan and to send them to the relevant companies in Belgium and in Walloon. So we have on one of the axes of the help to the companies is on network abroad. The second axe is our action program. We are organizing some 180 actions abroad to help our companies to know better the countries. These actions are, well, it's participation, collective participation in international exhibitions. To give you an example, next week we will be at the Medica exhibition in Düsseldorf, which is oriented to medical equipment. I heard from Mr. Schalkov that some of your companies are regularly visiting these international exhibitions. So I've agreed with him to send you beforehand the list of all the exhibitions and the participants so that you can eventually visit or stand and get acquainted with your companies at this occasion also. Next week at the Medica exhibition we will have a stand of 800 square meters and some 70 companies present. We participate, we also organize trade mission or economic missions as the one which is going on today. From Uzbekistan we will go to Kazakhstan because when you go so far you have to see also that you make it attractive for the companies not to spend too much money when traveling so far away to calculate a maximum of efforts. So 45% of the action program is aimed at sectorial niches that are the leading sectors in Wallonia. It's life sciences and pharmaceuticals, food additives, environmental technologies, new materials, electronics, information and telecommunication, security and control, and aeronautical and space industry. So we also have a full package of assistance, financial assistance to help our companies to penetrate foreign markets. This goes from incentives to produce brochures in foreign languages to the coverage of partially the travel expenses. And then we have also financial support for going aside with the big programs when it's not possible to find private financing. We can also help to give guarantees to our daughter company Sofinex. One of the important things that we also do support to our companies. We have an office located at EU, and there we try to work in the European programs, and namely we work very actively in the East Invest program to share our experience with the countries eligible in East Invest. I've heard that there will be a new East Invest for Central Asia soon coming out, So we will endeavor again to be part of this also, because we are certainly ready to share our experience, and one of the purposes of my presence here today is to share this experience. We are also working very closely with NCP, so it's the national contact point, because for us it's not only important to promote exports and investment, but also partnerships, which is an important contributor to the growth of mutual relations. Why? Because through partnerships you learn to know each other, and this is very important. You cannot do in business straight away without knowing your partner, and once confidence is learned, you can do your work much easier. So one of the, of course, important things also which contributes to FDI is present in different networks. So we see here a series of European organizations in which we closely work in networking just to find solutions for our companies. And then you have the MCP for partnerships, but we also have partnerships outside Europe. And one of the partnership which is working quite well is the partnership that we have put together with Texas A&M University in Texas, USA. This is aiming at cross-generation of potential partnerships, but also investments. The scenario which is usually used for this type of operation is according to the Galway Convention and the Global Network of Innovation. So you see the different regions coming from top to down, and then you have the other important items on which we will be working in this type of organization. So you have co-identifying, so you have an identifying system, both, for example, in Belgium and in the States. We identify together, we co-protect together, we co-invest, and we co-locate. So a location in the States can generate afterwards a location in the country. I explain myself. For example, sometimes it's difficult to locate an investment in one country. So one solution could be to locate the investment in another country where you have the basic requirements of research and so on available. And then from there, you recreate another investment in the country where you basically, the first stage, you wanted to make this investment. And it is this investment that will bring the added value in the end country. By doing this, you will have added value in two countries, which is of course not so easy to implement, but it's a very intensive possibility to contribute to a win-win solution for many people. So one of the items which is also important is logistics. So we are, as you can see, our region is well, in the middle of the Blue Walloon, as it is called in Europe. So we have quite some markets available in the neighborhood. So this draws also quite some investments which are maybe a little bit more important in employment. So, and then we come to one other item which we consider as very important. It's the interculturality, which is a richness for many countries, and that is very often forgotten because it's a soft science, and usually it's when you talk on foreign investment, you talk on hard figures of economics, but soft sciences should not be forgotten. And one of the large contributions of the assets of interculturality is definitely for me, in my view, the knowledge of different languages. We are doing different efforts to promote this interculturality, also to give, it's a different thing as what you have here at your university, but we organize postgraduate formation with a big package of training inside companies. The youngsters can also go to our offices abroad to get experience in working together. So, what are the challenges of innovation when talking in general? So innovation is important for economic growth. It's 90% of the 21st century contribution is in innovation compared to after the Second World War, innovation contributed only up to 50% to GDP. Innovation requires quite a dynamic between different sectors. It's government, industry, and knowledge centers, be it research centers or university or innovation is based on knowledge, creation, diffusion, and exploitation of information. So in a world that is faster and faster and faster, it requires wider collaboration across discipline and specialties. So you have to be multidisciplinary and not only focused in one discipline. The concept of intellectual property is being re-examined in the light of these collaborations beyond, but is also usually we talk also about open innovation. It is important and it is a very trendy concept nowadays. It requires a wider range of regions around the globe. So you cannot do innovation just in your nowadays with globalization. It's very difficult to limit innovation to one region. So you have to open to the world and facilitate this, because it's useless to regenerate twice the same thing when it's already exists. So now we come to what we have been implementing in Wallonia with regards to education and clusters. So the clustering policy in Wallonia started early 2000. First of all, with the bottom-up approach and the creation of networks of cross-sectoral enterprises networks, and then as from 2005, the network of competitive clusters. The tools, techniques are a little bit different. The networks of enterprises, it's a bottom-up approach. It's an open selection, so they come together on their own, and it's largely SMEs-oriented companies. They have funding from the Walloon region, but it's quite limited. And the main objective is to promote their sector locally and to find networking and develop things together by complementary devices over there. The clusters and competitiveness clusters It's a top-down approach. This is the result in Wallonia of a survey which was made in 2005 about the regional development of the region, and where we identified a series of sectors where it was useful to create these clusters, and these clusters are multi-actor partnerships between small and medium enterprises, big enterprises, and universities, and also research centers. They all work by public tendering for the projects. So development of the cross-sectoral networks. This is, as I said, an experience which was born in 2005. There are across, at the beginning we had 14. Since we assess on a regular basis the need to prolong this, because they are financed, so we have limited means as everywhere. So the financial support was only for 3 years, and that's why, for example, the sectoral network in wood, ceramics and biotechnology, and for agri-food and automotive have been cancelled, but the others we still work with them. What is particular also in these networks is that with regards to the internationalization of the clusters, of these networks, we work closely with them, and we give them also incentives, special incentives to promote their business abroad. For example, when we were here in 2012, in the environmental sector, we were there with 2 of our clusters which were handling waste treatment in our country, and they wanted to share experience with you and with the project you had in Tashkent. So we come to the creation of the competitiveness clusters. This is, as I said, the new industrial development approach which has been implemented by the Walloon region with Marshall Plan 1, Marshall Plan 2, and Marshall Plan 2020. Why is it called Marshall Plan? You know that after the Second World War, there was a Marshall Plan which was generated by the Americans to rebuild Europe. And a journalist at a certain stage, when we were talking and presenting, when the government presented this program, named it Marshall Plan and for Wallonia, and to rate Marshall Plan for Wallonia because it has a good signification. It was really an important decision which was taken after the time by government, because really these competitiveness clusters are aimed to generate innovative products in different branches. So we selected, so it's the aims was to move Wallonia's economy to more added value in the chain by promoting innovative capabilities and high-skilled employment. Focus on resources and priority sectors which were existing in Wallonia and which were strong, which means that it is not about creating from scratch new sectors. We had a base for that. So it's really aiming at fostering partnerships and synergies between all economic actors, being enterprises, universities, research centers, and training centers. To improve Wallonia attractiveness for foreign investments was a definite objective in implementing this program, and the promotion of a sustainable and environmental technologies was also one of the objectives. So we have chosen 6 sectors on which we have created these environmental sectors, these competitiveness clusters. It's life sciences, and this cluster is named Walloon. You have to know that the biggest export item of Wallonia is chemicals, and this includes pharmaceuticals. It's also the biggest export product to Uzbekistan. The second cluster, competitiveness cluster, is in aeronautic and space. It's named Skywing. The third one is mechanical engineering with Mecatech. Fourth is transports and logistics. And fifth is food processing industry, one area. And finally, we have the environmental technologies with greenwing. So you have the scenario here. I will leave the PowerPoint for those who are interested afterwards. So the regional budget for these programs, you have it here. I don't think it's so well. It's not a problem because you cannot compare it with what is done here. So I give it as an information. But also maybe what is important: who governs the clusters? So the Walloon government has established guidelines and a framework for the development of these clusters. The organization and the management of the clusters are the responsibility of the members of these clusters. They are non-profit organizations. They are headed by a governance council, and the daily management is operated by operational units. How does it operate for their projects? They have based the projects are initiated and financed and monitored. So there are calls which are made for all projects, and I heard that since the beginning of this year, the calls have been opened also largely to international participation. More even than in the beginning it was more European, but now it's really international. Projects are submitted to an evaluation international jury, where you have from different nationalities. And for example, one of the juries is presided by a CEO of a Flemish company. So we really open this because we want to have it very transparent. And there is an extensive monitoring and evaluation program, of course, because we are investing quite some money in these programs. The role of our agency, really, our agency has been designated by the Walloon government to proceed to the internationalization of these clusters. That's why we are setting up clustering operation. And for example, we had in January an interclustering operation in Walloon, France, with 45 participants from the clusters, but also from research centers and companies. And last week we had the same interclustering action and mission to Canada. So now I come to the last point of the presentation. So it's the three T's of which I talked later on: technology, talent, and tolerance. So, and in this frame, there is a program which has been created very recently by the Walloon government. It's Creative Wallonia. It's something which is very trendy in Europe. It's innovation, of course, but also creativity. And in a country, and certainly in a region where you don't have oil, you have to be creative to find solutions, to keep your place on the international market. So Creative Wallonia is a framework program with a view of placing creativity and innovation at the heart of the economy and society of Wallonia. Wallonia European Creative District. So 2 years ago, thanks to the implementation of this program Creative Wallonia, Wallonia was designated by the EU as Wallonia European Creative District. At the same time as Tuscany, we were the two only regions selected in this framework, and this is thanks to the implementation in our region of special programs of co-creation, co-design, and hybridation. So the mechanism which are implemented in this program is the promotion of the companies and their creativity, the development of innovative practices. So an innovative practice is not necessarily something technological. It can be also the new usage, the package change, but also a new way of adapting your production in a soft manner, for example, to change the logistics inside your plant. And also, the program is supporting innovative production, of course, in different frameworks. In the frame of Creative Wallonia, we have also set up a trends observatory. What is a trends observatory? It's people working at examining what is done worldwide on certain segments of the economy. And to give you an example, our trends observatory is now examining everything which is to do with silver economy. Silver economy, it's depending probably you are not confronted yet in Uzbekistan because your population is very young. But in our countries, population is aging, and we don't have so many. The birth rate is quite low compared to what you have in Uzbekistan. So now the new trends and the new segments, market segments which are examined, it's everything which is to do with aging population. And this goes, of course, to equipment, to facilities, to services, but also to TV programs and things like that. So I've put here, but this is all the figures of FDI, but I remind you that it's a small region. And this is the Tokyo, that you have the logos. You can have the other utility PowerPoint if you want it. And I think it's better now to answer your questions if you have any.
The floor is for questions, please.
So good afternoon. First of all, moving to my question, I want to introduce myself. My full name is Walloon. I'm a year 2 student in the Faculty of Banking and Finance. And I want to express our huge appreciation for you for coming and giving this presentation. So my questions are, the first question is, what's your opinion? What is the most important characteristics of Uzbekistan while attracting foreign direct investments? Is it the location of our country, or the quality of our life, or political stability?
As I said, there are different, in the creation of attracting foreign investments, there are different points which are important. It's political stability, of course, but you have also to build on what exists. I think you have a central location. You are, of course, you are double landlocked, but this problem of double landlocked can also be an opportunity, because it can also serve you can also create logistic hubs. So usually what the countries do is that they analyze what they have in their pocket as existing and what they can do to build it. And so it's each country that has to see a little bit what you have as possibility. But political stability is always one of the most important elements. And to give you a small comparison, you may have heard that some 2 or 3 years ago, we had some problems with the federal government, which took more than 500 days to be created. And also we had the regional development, the regional governments that went on working normally. The fact is that this created a kind of méfiance towards Belgium, because we didn't have a federal government. So definitely, political stability is very important.
Thanks for your answer. My second question is, the Belgium is very active in exporting, and the 70% of export is dedicated to the European Union countries, you said. And what are the main products or items that Belgian country export to European Union countries?
So the main products, it's what we call transversal. It's chemical industry, which includes also pharmaceuticals. And second is very often machines and equipment.
Thanks for your answer.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chantal De Bleu, and I'm a third-year student here in Entrepreneurship and Management course faculty. And I have a question for you about Wallonia. So you said it's autonomy, right, in Belgium. So basically the allocation of your investments will be mainly focused in Uzbekistan in pharmaceuticals and automation, or some other spheres as well, some other sectors as well.
Yeah, it's when we come to a country, it's always when you come to Uzbekistan, it's multi-sectoral, but as a fact, when we see the results in our exports, it's true that it's mainly pharmaceuticals that we are exporting.
And another question is, so Uzbekistan, as you know, is really good in cotton industry.
Yes.
So this our actual GDP level goes from that. So the question is, why won't you invest in that sphere rather than going into pharmaceuticals? Because you have a lot of sectors around the world.
Yeah.
Well, it's my personal questions.
No problem. I told you that I would frankly answer all the questions, so I know that you have a very special white gold with the cotton. You have to know that, as I said, the development that we did in our region is based on the industries that are existing, and in Wallonia we don't have so much in textile industry. So the textile industry was more developed in Flanders, and you have some of the companies from Flanders that are very active in Uzbekistan, and some of you may know of Walloon or Nickel, which are producing to make tissues and things like that.
Good afternoon, my name is Nathan Gobel. I'm a year 2 student here in MDIS with banking and finance faculty. The question now here is, your presentation actually encouraged me to go online, Google clusters, competitive clusters, and API. And one question that arose from this presentation is that does Uzbekistan have enough sufficient absorptive capacity to integrate FDI actually? Because in an article that I read, a research paper that I read, it said that an emerging country needs to have sufficiently developed market and good human capital in order to make sure that they actually benefit from an FDI. Now, do you think our country is ready to cash flows from other countries?
So the development of FDI is different in a developed country and an emerging country, obviously. What is the main difference for Uzbekistan would be by joining FDI to Uzbekistan is one of the, it's an important potential to upgrade its industry. Because you are not the only one country for CIS countries where the big problem that you have is that at the end of the Soviet system there were not so much investments anymore in the new technologies, and so you're lacking behind in upgraded equipment. And one of the aims, I think, for a country as Uzbekistan is to try and join investments in order to contribute to the diversification of its economy, and this way generate an even better conditions for GDP growth and also for export potential, because FDI, definitely FDI generates in the end also exports. That's one thing. With regards to employment, I think you have quite a lot of youngsters and well educated as far as I know. So I think you don't have so much problems on that to find capabilities for employment. But I think really for Uzbekistan, FDI can contribute to the diversification of the economy. So I have brought you also, we have begun a branding, so it's a recreation of the image of Wallonia. And just before I left, we had a new edition of our brochure, which is 10 reasons to invest in Wallonia. So I don't want to give you, to attract investments in Wallonia. This is not the purpose of what was meant to be done today. But I leave it to your rector, and if you wish, you can consult it. It's in English. To give you an idea on what we use as arguments when we are trying to sell Wallonia abroad. And then to finish, I'm also leaving for the rector, and this is in Russian, the promotional brochure of Wallonia. Furthermore,
Thank you very much, Mrs. De Bleu, for this very broad and extensive presentation. I think there are a lot of more things, terms to Google for after this presentation. We'll have to learn more. We learned a lot about Belgium today, we learned a lot about Wallonia today, we learned a lot about Annex activity.